Hello, I am the subject matter and I only have one question. What's with Hellsing? Hellsing is a manga and there's an anime series, but I'm not talking about the anime series, I'm talking about the manga in this video. It takes place in the 1990s. And there is this organization called Hellsing that protects Britain and Her Majesty from supernatural threats. And lately, there have been random vampire attacks that make no sense, and there have been a lot of vampire attacks. And this is really out of character for vampires because usually they just sneak into a girl's bedroom, bite her, and then bam, she's his wife. Then they leave, and everyone's happy. Well, everyone except the family of the girl, and I guess the girl herself, because I cannot imagine what it's like to be Christopher Lee's wife for hundreds and hundreds of years. So, they send in their best man, or should I say vampire, Alucard. Now, before I go on any further, I want you to take that name, Alucard, and write it down. It should be pretty easy to spell. Then, either write it backwards, or show it in a mirror. You will be surprised, I guarantee you. If you haven't, you can do that, but I would read the manga first. So, yeah. So, they find out that these vampires are artificial vampires. Well, no, they're not artificial vampires. They're vampires that have been made by this crazy Nazi scientist named Major. I'll get to that little thing about the Nazis later on. So, it's up to Hellsing to stop the Nazis from destroying Britain. Actually, Major's true intent is to destroy Alucard because Alucard defeated him all the way back in World War II. So, it's up to Hellsing to make sure that the Nazis do not destroy Britain and Alucard. Or eat Britain, because that's what vampires like to do. They like to drink people's blood. So, that's a pretty basic plot. Make sure the Nazis don't destroy everything and everybody everywhere. So, what do I like and what do I not like about this manga? Well, I like the style of it. It's real edgy, real dark. I mean, when I think of Hellsing, I think of darkness. Yeah. And I also like the characters. I like the characters a lot, actually, more than I realized. And I like the story, kinda. I'll get to that too in a minute. Yeah, so that's the things I like. The story, no, not the story, the characters and the art is pretty nice. Then again, it is Japanese anime, it's Japanese animation, so yeah, it should be. Now, the things I do not like. Well, I do not like the villain. The villains are stupid. Nazis. Really? You couldn't come up with anybody else, you had to go with the Nazis as your main villain. The other villain is the church, because the church, they just have this kind of rivalry. They have this very deep and heavy rivalry, and so they're basically natural enemies, and yeah, so they're kind of just the normal old side villains. Then when the Nazis come to town, they join forces. Well, no, they don't join forces because towards the ending of the manga, there's only 3 people from Hellsing left, and that's Sir Integra, who's a woman, by the way, Ceres, who is Alucard's servant, and then Alucard himself. yeah, that's one of the things I don't like about this manga. Another thing I do not like about this manga is the... Another thing I do not like about this manga is why do it just... At the beginning, when Alucard turned Ceres because she was shot... Again, I really do think that since Alucard is the most powerful vampire in the world, he could have taken that crazy vampire priest out some other way than shooting through Ceres. I mean, come on. God, he's so unethical. So, yeah, he turns Ceres into a vampire, and while he's carrying her back to the camp, it turns silly. Those annoying faces that the Japanese draw, those 1 minute the characters look nice, the next it's... I don't know why they do it. I mean, the silliness, it's just so out of place because this is something that's dark and twisted, and I don't know, it just really that was really close to making me close this manga. I mean, I just hate that so much. You have a serious opening and then you screw it up with the silliness and the cutesiness and I mean, this show is not cute. This manga, it's just not cute. It's anything but cute. One of the prime examples of this is Transformers. When it opens up with the Allspark falling to Earth and that helicopter Decepticon invading that military base, stealing that information, I wanted to know what the Decepticons were going to do next. I didn't want to know about Shia LaBeouf and his crush on Megan Fox, and it drove me nuts. I want to see the big giant robots fighting, not... Ugh. Yeah, that's one of my gripes about it. And then another gripe of mine is that the Hellsing organization, they're such hypocrites. They have the king of vampires under their employment when they're supposed to kill him. How do you think the first Van Helsing would have thought about that? He's probably spinning it. He's probably spinning in his grave so fast he's probably struck oil and his body's in some kind of grave in China. Well, his body would probably be dust now, but you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, that just really annoys me, and that's the manga. Now, I kind of like to talk about the anime before I go. The first anime, not the new anime. From what I hear, the new anime is dulled and I'm not going to watch it. Why? The thing... I don't get why all these anime reviewers... I mean, I can see the confusion of why everybody likes this. I mean, personally, I think I have the answer. I think it's just mainly Alucard. I think he's the entire reason why people watch it, and not the story or anything else, just Alucard and that voice of his. God, they couldn't do better. They couldn't do better casting. I mean, Crispin Freeman, I am really surprised he could pull a voice like that off. I mean, I was just like, what? That's Crispin Freeman? Wow. So anyway, I digress. Yeah, I like the art style of that because it's edgy, it's noirish, it's not colorful, it's not... I mean, the shadows, the character designs, it's just so edgy, and it's how the anime was supposed to be. If only the anime followed the manga storyline. I mean, this version of the anime. If only it followed the manga, it would have been the perfect one. That's all for the manga, folks. But if you'll join me in my next video, I'll go more into depth about the anime and more about what I liked in it. Until then, I'm the subject matter, and this has been What's with Hellsing.